So Nike has gone all in on social justice. They're going to try to be the wokest apparel of all time. Just looking over the past several weeks here, they donated $40 million over 4 years to support Black communities. They're also going to declare Juneteenth, the day that commemorates the emancipation of the last remaining slaves, as a company holiday. First off, if you don't know me yet and somehow have stumbled upon my video amongst the billions, literally billions of videos out there, welcome. And I think it was meant to be. So I do stories on business, politics, and other things, and I always try to keep it 100% real, so please support small independent voices like mine and subscribe. All right, so back to Nike. They've recently been getting a lot of earned media attention around their support of Black Lives Matter, and people in general seem genuinely happy about it. If you just take a look at some of the smatterings of comments on Twitter, which I'll show you here, Nike just donated $40 million to the Black communities during this pandemic. I'm wearing Nike to the grave. Nike consistently leads, takes risk, and commits. Juneteenth as a paid holiday is dope. Wow, Nike is donating $40 million to the cause. That's leadership and will surely inspire others to follow. For me, I'm not quite buying it. I'm not saying those issues aren't important or that donating is a bad thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. We'll take the money. We'll take their money, and if I'm an employee, I'll take that day off all day long. But I'm just not going to give them a pat on the back like everybody else here. Because I know, or at least have a feeling, that the motive behind the crusade is money. Or more importantly, to distract consumers from all the bad stuff that's going on behind the curtains. I mean, if you think about it, it costs Nike almost nothing to be this corporate social justice warrior. I mean, supporting these causes, $40 million, 4 years, extra vacation day a year. That's like basically a rounding error on their balance sheet. No joke. It's literally a rounding error. It's like less than 1/100% of their current cash on hand. It's almost like if we went out and bought a $5 cup of coffee and then tipped a penny. It's like very little. It's very little. To keep it 100% real though, it's a great business move. I mean, they get to make millions of dollars and they make you feel like warm and fuzzy about them. It's fantastic. But I don't want to conflate those two things, you know what I mean? I was taught in business school that running a business is all about maximizing shareholder value. So don't think for a second that they're going to value people over money. This is right now, some of the things that they do that value people happen to also make them money. So that's why they're doing it. Because the fact of the matter is, while the media is essentially waxing poetic about Nike's social justice warrioring, they continue to exploit people at all levels, from athletes to their corporate employees and their factory workers. So take the story of Mary Cain. So Mary was, at 17, the fastest girl in a generation, record-breaking phenom, amazing athlete, youngest runner to turn professional. In 2013, she was signed to the best track team in the world, the Nike Oregon Project, that was run by a star coach by the name of Alberto Salazar. And at the Oregon Project, Mary Cain's all-male coaching staff convinced her that she had to get thinner and thinner and thinner and push basically her body to the limit where she just broke down physically and mentally. So just listen to this clip where she talks about what she went through.
So in 2015, I ran this race and I didn't run super well. And afterwards, there was a thunderstorm going on. Half the track was under one tent. Alberto yelled at me in front of everybody else at the meet, and he told me that I clearly gained 5 pounds before the race. It was also that night that I told Alberto and our sports psych that I was cutting myself, and they pretty much told me they just wanted to go to bed.
That is absolutely horrific, and there's so many other stories like that, you know, from athletes that you don't even really know about to athletes, to star Olympic athletes like Allison Felix. And moving from athletes into the workplace, in 2018, 2 female employees sued the company and described a toxic workplace culture in which sexual harassment and gender discrimination were not uncommon. They claimed that Nike often hired women at lower salaries than men and promoted female employees less frequently than their male counterparts. The women also claimed that reported incidents of sexual harassment were ignored or handled poorly. So I'm just going to give Nike a little bit of credit here because I know that they've done some things in the past couple of years to address issues like this, you know, with improved maternity leave and things like that. But the important thing here is that we just need to maintain vigilance because, like I said, if corporations aren't forced to address these human rights issues, they just won't. They're not going to. Which leads me to the next point, which is, well, we all know about, is sweatshops. By the way, Nike is not the only company that uses sweatshops. I'm just pointing that out there. But you know, we first found out about these things in the 70s and 80s, and then it popped up again in the 90s, 2000s. Basically, it's been going on for half a century, and it is still happening today. According to a 2019 report from the Clean Clothes Campaign, which is a global network dedicated to improving working conditions and empowering workers in the global garment and sportswear industries in Indonesia, Cambodia, and Vietnam, where brands like Nike have shifted most of their sourcing. Incidents of human rights violations are more prevalent, and workers' average salaries are 45 to 65% below the living wage. So basically insufficient to meet their basic needs. And if you want further proof that Nike is more or less full of it, during elections, they donate way more money to Republicans. I mean, just look at this chart that shows Nike's campaign contributions over the last few election cycles. So except for 2016, Nike has donated vastly more money to Republican candidates. And let's not forget, in 2016, Hillary is basically as corporate as it gets, so I don't even count that one. And so what does this tell me? I mean, essentially they play both sides. I mean, to give them credit, they do it very, very well. Essentially, they appeal to the left on cultural and social issues. They create this, like I said, warm, fuzzy image of themselves. But at the same time, they still wish to benefit financially from the fiscal policies on the right. So you got money flowing in from the left, and then they'll do everything they can to avoid taxes and keep that money in-house. So pretty dang smart in my book. So my point is, changes and gestures like the Juneteenth holiday or the $40 million donation, they basically have no effect or even a positive effect on their financials. So those decisions for them are pretty easy to make. They're not courageous at all. I'm not necessarily saying that they're bad things. No, they're not bad things. Like, we want their donations. But I just want to be clear in that this illusion that they created, that they're somehow a business with altruistic virtues, that's just not the case. It's simply, like I said, it's an illusion. Corporations, they'll virtue signal all day long, like we've seen. They'll even donate millions of dollars because guess what? Those are tax write-offs. And they'll let people just spin their wheels all day long about these social injustices because they want to distract you from the economic injustices they create. My point here is that businesses like Nike, they're not people. They're not your friend. They don't have these warm, fuzzy feelings. I mean, they're there to make money. So, I mean, I'm not telling you can't love Nike, but what I'm telling you is that they're not this cute teddy bear that's going to love you back. They're not. My final thought today is about what we can do to make a difference. I mean, I could spew all day long about the problem, but if I don't offer a solution, then this video isn't really that helpful. So it's been proven that corporations, they will respond to the will of people as long as our voices are big enough. And we can make it so that they will act, even if they act cynically, they'll end up doing the right thing. And that's what we see today with the Black Lives Matter movement. We've forced companies to at least take a stand on these issues and do the right thing. So if we as consumers refuse to wear clothing that's unethically produced, for example, then companies will actually be forced to reckon with these types of decisions that actually affect their bottom line. Thank you so much for watching 5149. I put a link below to Good On You, which is an app that has brand ratings, articles, guides on ethical and sustainable fashion, so we can make sure that we're buying from ethical manufacturers. And so as always, please support small independent media channels like myself by liking this video and subscribing. My name is James Lee, and I thank you for your time.